Hey team, Martin here with our weekly video update. I tell you, out here in Santa Cruz, it is starting to storm. We've already received 4 inches of rain. Just a little bit up the hill, in one of the canyons, they've received 8 inches of rain. The winds are gusting, and I do wish I had storage right about now. The light you see over my shoulder up here, that's not my guardian angel, that is just the lighting in the barn. I decided to do this down in the barn while my significant other does some of her homework for grad school. All right, I wanted to talk about one topic and then get into the shout outs. We really had a momentous week, and I think that it's important now as more and more people are involved with Timberline Solar to refresh on trust, conflict, and results. For those of you that are new, trust, conflict, and results is a distillation of the 5 characteristics of well-performing teams. They're taken from a book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, and there are 5 dysfunctions, and then the opposite become the characteristics of winning teams. And we've distilled them down to 3. The first is trust. You have to trust the people with whom you work. If you think people are working for their own best interests, if you think when people are doing things, they're not doing things for the betterment of the team, those are symbols of a lack of trust. Other symptoms or symbols or exhibitions of lack of trust are the meeting after the meeting, when people feel that they can't say what they need to say because they're afraid how others might take it. Other exhibitions of lack of trust are not communicating or not getting to the heart of the matter. And so trust is the foundation for really successful teams. And I think we've done a fairly good job at establishing trust, especially now that we have some real wins under our belt. Nothing establishes trust like delivery, but there are certain tactics people can execute to establish trust absent delivery of major projects such as Timberline Solar. One of my favorite ways to establish trust amongst people, amongst individuals and across teams is simply by enjoying a meal, enjoying a cup of coffee. I know that has been difficult with COVID, but now that we have a pretty good protocol for our lunches, and here's the opportunity every day for people to enjoy lunch, break bread with someone with whom you're not very familiar, and use that rather informal time to establish trust with the individual. Once you establish trust, then you can have really solid conflict. Just think about how you speak with your best friends and those who are closest to you. You really trust what they have in mind is the better interest of yourself, not their own best interest. And therefore you have really candid conversation that allows you to get to the heart of the matter. And sometimes those are not easy to hear, and that's what conflict is. Conflict is saying what you feel, saying what you believe is right, and not worrying about how others take it, so long as you do it for the betterment of the team. Conflict is bringing up the difficult topics within a meeting, having the intestinal fortitude to say, I don't agree with that. I think we should do this. I think we should do that. And then engaging in the conflict. And then sometimes it can get heated. So long as it's professional, there's nothing wrong with heated conflict. And finally, that will drive results. We would not be where we are having certified the factory, having achieved certification for the product, sold our first Pearson order, shipped our first Pearson order, and installed our first alpha build in a real life scenario, were it not for trust, conflict, and results. It will be more and more difficult to adhere to these principles as we get larger. It will get more and more difficult to adhere to these principles as more and more people feel the stress on the delivery of Pearson. But we have to really think about what it is that makes us collectively the team of GAF Energy. And I hope that is trust, conflict, and results. All right, so let's get to shout outs. My first shout out is for the entire organization for the week we had. As I mentioned in the opening, we received our first order for Pearson. We shipped our first order for Pearson, and we installed an alpha build. That is truly monumental. I can't tell you how happy I am to be part of this team for such a fantastic achievement. You should, a couple weeks ago, we won some big award. We certified the factory and we got Class A fire, and we followed it up by selling Timberline Solar, shipping Timberline Solar, and getting it installed. It's really, enjoy this team. The execution that we're experiencing is not typical of a startup, but it is typical of a well-functioning team. All right, that said, 5 minutes, let's get into some shout outs. I got my iPhone here, so as I look down and read them, I'll go in reverse order. So the first one comes from Natasha. Natasha wants to give a shout out to Carlos, Josra, Mike Kuiper, Tony Z for their work characterizing the Chowchilla build. So not only did we get the build done, but a lot of data was collected from that build that will lead to the betterment of the product. Thank you very much, Natasha, for that shout out. Next shout out comes from Tony Z. Whoops, that's not Tony Z's shout out. I think he does have a shout out in here. That was an email from Tony Z, which I won't read. The next shout out comes from Ray. Ray wants to give shout outs to Kin, Evan G, and all the technicians. Amazing to see the first shipment get manufactured, quality checked, packed up, and sent out of the factory. Huge milestone for us, and took a hell of a lift for all of them to make it happen. Yeah, Kin, what great leadership you're exhibiting in the factory. Thank to you, all the operators, all of the professionals, all the engineers on your team. Great job. Second, Ray's not done. Melissa, Roque, and Fan and the training team gearing up to head into a grueling installation training schedule. These three have been burning the candle on both ends to get training materials sourced. He goes on to say curriculum developed, resources scheduled, and get all our pilot partners set up to sell Timberline Solar. I agree. I think that they're heading to New Orleans this week to train Posigen, our largest partner. So agree. Shout out to the training team. Shout out to Tony Z, Evan W, and Mike K. Super grateful for those field veterans keeping an eye on the installation process steps to be the true voice of our roofers. With ease of installation being a pillar of the development of Timberline Solar, these dudes make sure we're keeping true to that goal. Even heading down to Chowchilla to make sure the alpha build collected real feedback so that we can go prime time with our roofers. It goes out to shout out for Zane Carsley. He stepped up to make sure we deliver all the software features to prepare for our partners for launch of Timberline Solar, even developing some real-time fixes on the fly as we get feedback from the pilot. Shout out to Jeff, Chris, Charlie, Paul. Similar to software a month ago, we've never done Timberline Solar proposal, plan, permit set, or BOM. These four hustled to create the MVP processes to get Timberline Solar proposal, plan set, and bombs done. So really well done there. Ralph, shout out to Ralph from Ray. Ray says, I think I was more scared about getting to optical court from Sheldon Manufacturing than Ralph was. Cool, calm, and collected despite the most aggressive timeline that Ray's been a part of, and me too. So much respect for doing it on a timeline, but not only doing it on time, but doing it in style. It really is remarkable what Ralph's leadership has enabled. 3 months ago, there was nothing in the factory other than a completed shell. And now the fact that we have machines there and we actually shipped out, that's a great testament. And Ray, thank you for recognizing Ralph's leadership there. Finally, shout out from Ray to Lisa Cohen. It's budgeting time, and Ray's got a lot of questions for Lisa and a lot of things that he needs to plan for as we grow the product and software organizations next year. And Lisa has been a great partner for Ray. So thank you so much, Ray, for recognizing those people in the shout out. Okay. Evan wants to give shout outs to everyone at the Alpha installation. A lot of hard work went into that build, especially in the attic by Rick and Jacob. Extra shout out to Roque and his family for hosting us. Roque's mom and sister made us a home cooked meal of caldo de res, beef stew, arroz con leche for dessert. They also insisted we pick fruit from the ripe pomegranate trees. They're the best kind of people to work for. That's what Evan says. Also, a couple of overdue shout outs. Evan gives a shout out to Richard Perkins for providing the applications design team with extremely helpful design review training. Shout out for the energy training team for hosting the first official Timberline Energy shingle training in optical court. And shout out to TZ for putting together the services team event at Topgolf. That was a great event, Evan. Thank you for recognizing TZ in that. All right, Duncan's got some shout outs. Time for the A team to make it rain, literally, at the Thrilla in Coachella. Nikki, Mike, Evan, Roque, Mario, and Rick with Tony Z yet again as a linchpin batting cleanup. And introducing Jacob Fenstermaker to the party on the roof. I think Jacob not only had a party on the roof, but also in the attic. So Duncan's got this great picture. I'll see if this comes out in the camera. It's awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Duncan. No one gives shout outs like Duncan gives shout outs. All right. Tony Z wanted to thank all of those involved in the pilot as well. Again, Mike, Evan, Nikki, Duncan, Roque, and Jacob. Beautiful system and near perfect alignment Mario and Rick followed with clean and efficient electrical installation. The amount of effort to develop this product was staggering, and everyone in the company deserves recognition for the contribution. Many pieces needed to align to make it happen, but at the end of the day, we walked away with a fully commissioned operational Timberline solar system on a customer's home. That's fantastic. It looks great. Another photograph from Tony Z. I mean, it just looks remarkable. All right, last shout out I have comes from Melissa Miara. The Timberline solar pilot is underway and is proving to be a big stretch. Expectations are high, materials are tight, and time is short to hit the timelines. But if any team can pull it off, it's GF Energy. I'd like to give a shout out to a few key players this week who pushed to get Timberline solar modules out of optical court and en route to the training sites of our pilot roofers. The R&D techs, including Joel, Ramon, and Soph, Albert Aceves, and Joe Petrillo. Huge efforts, hugely appreciated. Thank you, Melissa, for the shout out. Thank you, everybody, for the work that you're doing on GF Energy's first product. It's fantastic. All right, take care, everybody. Cheers.